Iowa, Rampage, Iowa, Rampage, Iowa, Rampage, Iowa, Rampage. I don't care what you heard about me, what you know about me, what you think about me. Pull up to the spot and I'm only one deep. When I go OT, get the thing on me. G43X got it off safety. Tryna get the piece, so I gotta keep a piece. Getting high in the bit, but I stay low key. Anytime I show face, gotta pay me a fee. Ain't nothing free, I'ma need that deposit. Go straight to the bank and I make a deposit. Created a brand and I don't need a stylist. My name getting big, think I'm Christopher Wallace. I make it look easy, I ain't even trying. Hear how they talking, small thing to a giant. They capping, they hating, I don't even mind it. I let them keep talking, I just keep on shining. What you know about us? What you know about us? What you think you know? What you know about us? What you really know about us? I don't care what you know about me, what you think about me, what you heard about me. I don't care what you know about me, what you think about me, what you heard about us. What you know about us? What you know about us? What you really know? What you know about us? What you really know about us? I don't care what you know about me, what you think about me, what you heard about me. I don't care what you know about me, what you think about me, what you heard about us. Iowa, Rampage, Iowa, Rampage, Iowa, Rampage, Iowa.
All right. right, and welcome back to Guerrilla Tactics, your Iowa Rampage coaches show. This time without a coach. So we got two special guests on tonight. We have actually our two primary owners, Trevor Burdett and Mike. And I apologize, Mike, I'm going to screw up your last name, Taliaferro. Appreciate you all coming on. Let's get you guys visible and say hello to our audience. They're slowly coming in. Looks like we got a handful of folks here on Facebook, a couple on YouTube, a couple on Twitter, and looks like a solo one on Twitch as well. So we're kind of a little bit of everywhere right now. But yeah, guys, welcome. Hopefully, Mike, I didn't script your name too bad.
Hey, it was close. It's closer than a lot of people get. So
he's been called worse.
Oh, a lot worse.
I think we all have.
Yeah.
But guys, welcome. I appreciate you so much for taking the time coming on here and just talking about what's going on. I mean, it's been busy 2 weeks, so you know what? Let's get to it. What is going on? What's with all the changes? What's happening? Why is it happening? Where are we at?
Yeah, we felt it was probably the right time to make this change. There were some confusion that we had with kind of roles that we had for Coach. Coach Henderson, he's a great guy. He was supposed to come in, and he was originally going to be our general manager in the off season. And we just had some disagreements on how everything needed to be ran. So we decided to kind of take those duties on ourselves. And, through that process, we thought it was time to make a change.
So. Fair enough. Mike,
yeah, I mean, we're a brand new team, so unfortunately, it's not something teams want to do, but we just thought it was the best decision for us moving forward, putting the right people in place that we think long term can benefit the team.
And so, what does that now look for you guys? Because you guys aren't local to Council Bluffs.
Correct.
So
correct. Yeah.
What's going to look like for you guys coming up here, since you are taking on a little more of the day-to-day operations?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I haven't worked since February, which is kind of blessing in disguise. So I've had the flexibility to come up here quite a bit. Meet a lot of the the businesses in town, getting sponsorships, things like that. So fortunately, for me, it's been pretty flexible for me to come up here and do what we got to do. So.
We've also met some great people that are helping us. We have our marketing director Kelsey, who is doing a lot more than just marketing and PR for us. She's putting us in touch with a lot of people that matter in the area, and some of those people we've brought on board for like our sales staff and football operations and things like that. So we've got a great team behind us that is willing and ready to do pretty much anything that we need to make this as successful as possible.
Well, and from a marketing aspect, I think it's pretty widely regarded as the Rampage are one of the best in the league right now, and especially coming from a non-established team. The ones that are usually up in the top tier are going to be your Albanese and your Orlando's, the people that are established, have a name, and have been doing this for quite a while. So it's impressive to have that kind of reputation already of having a great marketing program.
Yeah. Content is king. I mean, it's obviously why you're doing things like you are right now. And that really kind of allows us to spread the word of what we're doing, of what our team does. And the great thing is we're building this awesome platform that our players and our staff and coaches are going to use to basically just, hopefully springboard them to that next level.
So, speaking of players, a lot of, this sport is very relationship based. It's a lot about who you know and getting in with people and that it happens a lot with players. Hey, I signed with this guy and I want to stay with this guy. Same thing with coaches. How is that looking for us since we made this change? Have we lost many folks in terms of coaches or players?
So we've had a couple players that have chose to be released, but I don't think it was necessarily because of coaching 100%. One of them, he actually did get an option to go to CFL Chris Elmore. So he's moving up, which is great. We want to make sure that all of our players, when they get a chance to go to that next level, that they can do it.
Hey, Trevor, your mic's kind of cutting out there
Yeah.
all of a sudden.
Sorry about that. Is
There
that
you go.
better?
That's better.
So you
I
said that you got
apologize.
a CFL opportunity?
Yeah. Chris Elmore. Yeah, he
Oh.
had an opportunity to go to the CFL, so we went ahead and released him, even though he could have stayed under contract with us. The way the contract is written, but he's going to pursue that. And then also he has another position that's not football oriented that he may go if the CFL option doesn't work. So
you can't fault a guy for something like that.
Oh, no, not at all.
I mean, that's what this is about to a certain degree. Yes, this is the highest level of indoor ball, but there are still other levels, and
There is.
everybody has a dream of going up.
Correct.
So yeah, you can't fault a guy for doing that.
But yeah, I mean, all the other players, they know about the change, and we've heard nothing but that, hey, they're ready to go and they're ready to rock. So
how about on the coaching staff? How's that holding together?
We did have one coach that there was a promise made that wasn't made by us, and so we unfortunately weren't able to honor that contract. Mike, I don't know if you want to say who it was, or
it was Maurice Purify, our offensive coordinator. So he lives in California, so he's planning on bringing his family into town. So like Trevor said, what was promised is just something we couldn't So unfortunately, we left on good terms, but yeah, we would have definitely loved to have him on board still.
Yeah, great guy. Yep. Talking about Brandon, I love Brandon to death. I've known him for years. He's a good guy. And I'll still support him no matter where he ends up.
Yeah. I should say, one thing Brandon did do very well was put together a pretty good coaching staff. So we've all of them have AFL backgrounds, very strong, know the game. So extremely happy that we were able to retain a lot of the coaching staff still.
Yeah, it's still the most AFL experience than in any team in the league by far, even without Purify.
Yeah.
So still, and I was talking last night on our roundtable. I think that's going to be the key to this season is the more AFL experience you have, be it in coaching staff or on the field, those are the teams you're going to see that succeed, have most success. And
I agree.
In our division.
Well, especially when you look at just the rules. I mean, the rule book got released out to us as the owners just the other night. There wasn't really anything too surprising in there. They are going with Ironman rules, so being able to have players or coaches that played Ironman to be able to explain all of that, that's a really big point there, because there's a lot of great coaches, but having somebody that has the experience in the AFL that knows what to do in those instances when you're there on the field is huge.
Though, the one thing I'll say though is there's actually very few that have Ironman experience, because the AFL got rid of the Ironman actually at 2007, 2008, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so it's been a while.
Yeah, so it's been a minute, and I'll tell you those rules are tricky. They're super tricky, and so actually that's something I've been wanting to ask. I meant to ask the commissioner the other night and then didn't get around to it. From an ownership perspective and a workers' comp issue, is there any fear with guys playing Ironman, playing double the downs and more injuries and things like that? Is that a bigger fear?
I know that the league has had multiple conversations with Hub, who they're using as their kind of one of their approved workman's comp and insurance companies. Hub's kind of like a big broker. They work a lot with a lot of different companies across the board. The tricky part about that is I think you're going to see that in the states like New York and California and even Florida, workers' compensation is just crazy in those states. So I think that they're going to have a bigger trouble than we would, in Iowa. But I know that they're kind of crossing all the T's as they're talking with Hub on that.
So I remember hearing. So when my experience in AFL started at the very end of the Ironman era, and I remember hearing horror stories of a guy that had to go and play with a broken arm or had to go and play with a broken leg because there was no one left to substitute in.
Yeah.
Or seeing your backup quarterback all of a sudden line up at receiver because that's all you can do at this point. It's fourth quarter. You got to get somebody out.
I know in the old Iron Man there was actually penalties if you didn't play enough downs, and that was one thing that stood out to me that was changed in the rules.
Okay.
So that part is omitted. So I think that requirement is probably going to make the workman's comp a little bit easier. You're still going to have your linemen playing both sides, but there are going to be some alternates that we can bring out on the field. Knock on wood, somebody does get hurt.
Right.
So we're suiting up 21 guys, and other than the quarterback and your kicker, the other 19, you only need 7 of those guys on the field at a time.
Right.
So you do have some alternates that you can switch around if need be.
For sure. And yeah, I mean it's a game of chess. It's much more of a game of chess than I think most people realize when it comes to substitution and all that.
Yep.
So since the rule book's out, you got to kind of open up a whole new can of worms for me now. So I'm gonna kind of quiz you on something you just got. So I apologize if you're not quite there yet.
No, you're good.
One of the questions brought up in the interview with the commissioner was the extra point rules. Is it pretty standard, just 2 point, 1 point, and drop kick, or are they doing like the CIF did with the additional points?
So I know they're not doing kind of the 3 and 4 point thing that we did last year. Okay. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to pull up actually the rule book while we're talking about it. I know that there was some drop point rules, but I don't remember exactly what the setup was. So yeah, so here's the points that they've got in there right now. So obviously touchdown 6, field goal by placement is 3, field goal by drop kick is 4. So they do have some on there. Then you have the safety, and then returned point attempt by defense and things like that are going to be 2 points.
Okay.
So
yeah, I think
so. Drop kick is 2. I'm assuming.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are old AFL rules when it comes to that kind of stuff. Charles is asking, what about the deuce? Did they bring that in?
So that would be
on the kickoffs.
Yeah, so I do know that the deuce is in there. I don't see it as far as the kickoff rules. So the rule book that we have here is going to be like it's not 100%. I know that it doesn't have the all of the stuff that's going to be required for our media partners in there yet. So I know that there's a couple different changes that need to make, but I do know that they did talk on all of our owners' calls that they were bringing back the dues.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's actually due to the AFL. Was an NAL thing that they had.
I don't know how many times it can be done because we've been told a couple times where if you make it, you get another chance. You get another chance up to like 4 times if you really could. Yeah. That can't be confirmed
just got real
yet.
Important.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Kicker just got real important.
Yeah, I think they're trying to make the kicker a little bit more necessary than some of the other leagues have had in the past.
I say we had a kicker in Kansas City that he made himself relevant. He was the kicker that he kicked the ball and ran full speed towards the guy returning the ball and laid him out. I've never seen a kicker get so many personal fouls in one season.
That's awesome.
Brian said he was a lot of fun. He enjoyed hitting as much as he enjoyed kicking. So I got ahead of myself. I apologize. Let's get into your girls' backgrounds. Trevor, I know you from Topeka, but Mike, you're new to the whole game this year. Correct?
Very brand new, yeah. Got a big learning curve. So.
Right. So where are y'all coming from? What's your backgrounds? There's a lot of folks here that don't know you guys. So
yeah, so I'm also in Topeka. Got a background in technology. So been a developer for years. Last 7-8 years been a manager in technology and project management. So hoping at least some of my background can transition over to kind of hopefully running the team a little bit, working on building relationships with Council Bluffs and the Omaha area, businesses around the area. So that's kind of pretty much my background. So about the last 30 years in technology.
And you went to your first game last last year, right? Your first indoor game.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I remember watching it as a kid on TV, watching the AFL. But yeah, I went to a game in Topeka last year. So, I think that went to two overtimes too.
Yeah, that was a great game.
You were probably at the game, yeah.
Well, I was definitely there. I'm sure you probably actually heard me.
yeah.
Trevor, you want a little bit of your background?
Yeah. So I've basically been an entrepreneur for probably about the last 10 years. I've had, I've owned property. I've flipped houses. I've done a lot of it. More recently, I've got a chain of CBD stores. I also own a restaurant in Topeka. And then last year, I was one of the owners of the Tropics. And so for me, it's exciting to kind of have that tie to a city. Obviously, it would have been awesome to kind of stay in Topeka, stay close to home, but it just doesn't work out the way you always want it to. And when the opportunity presented itself for us to kind of come in and start the AFL with everybody else, it was something I just couldn't say no to.
So yeah, and last year Topeka was rough. At least it ended rough.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's not a lot of personal details you can get into, but can you get into just a little bit overview of what happened for 8,000 foot, and then
yeah, I mean,
how it led you here, basically.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean, we went into it and we definitely didn't know what needed to be done to kind of get everything going.
You came in last minute too, if I remember.
Yeah, we came in. I think it was like almost October, maybe early November, is when we actually took ownership. And when we took it over, the arena actually was the one that put us in touch with the previous owner, JR. And we thought we were getting kind of like a full package deal. We thought we had the turf, the pads, everything, and it was not the case. So the arena had the dasher pads, they had the walls, but we basically had to start from scratch and get it all going. And it was a struggle. I mean, it also, like, I had a lot of free time to put towards it, but my partners, unfortunately, one of my partners, his son had like a really big medical condition, actually was in the ER for like, weeks at a time. So it was a lot of pressure for him on his family that he wasn't able to spend the time that was needed for the team. So starting late to the game and then having some big issues, we just were not able to catch up. I stuck around as long as I could. It got to the point that, my wife told me, hey, it's me or it's the team. And, I love those guys. I see, Sean's here in the chat right now. I love those guys, but no offense, man, my family comes first. So I had to do what I could. And I think a lot of these players will vouch for me. I did everything in my power to make sure that they had everything they needed. And I'm carrying that over to the Rampage.
So I had Jimmy piping in there. So was it my game against Solana? Yes, Jimmy, that was your game.
Yeah, thanks for coming in and hitting that kick at the end. Yeah,
that was a rough game. I felt bad because our kicker did get injured earlier in the game.
Yeah,
and missed a couple at the very end that I don't think he misses had he not had the hit on his kick.
Yeah,
no flag was thrown. But no, Jimmy came in clutch on that game when it mattered.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy's also local. He's not far from Council Bluffs. So.
Yeah, he's been out there. He came to our tryouts that we had in Iowa. So we're excited to. We've kind of
played some fire game too.
Yeah. So Mike and I have kind of stayed off. Players is obviously all for the coaches, and kind of like I said earlier, there was maybe some jobs or some duties that weren't being done. So I know that a lot of the players that were kind of on the fence or wondering what's going on after tonight, our coaching staff has all of their contacts and they're going to start reaching out and we're going to be finalizing a lot of contracts that have kind of just been sitting out there.
Deal. Yeah, I'm sure I'll be relieved to a couple of these guys out here.
Yeah.
So you mentioned turf. Tim Capper mentioned, so since we are such a new team, how is the progress going about getting the net set up and getting the appropriate turf, because obviously the turf we used for the police fire game wasn't our game turf.
No,
no,
definitely
no.
not.
So,
Definitely not.
yeah. That turf's been sent back, and so we have brand new artificial grass coming in. We're actually waiting to. It's held for us. It's actually currently in California, and once the arena gives us a date where we can actually roll it out and get it cut to our specifications, we'll have that set up and then get it painted. So I'm hoping here in the next month we'll have our grass in. We'll have all of that ready to go. The nets actually are going to be arriving. I've got a 40-foot shipping container probably arriving here on my front lawn in the next couple days.
Neighbors will love that.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but we have nets coming for probably about 8 or 10 of the teams that are in the league.
Yep.
Nice.
So we did a bulk order, and I reached out to some of my contacts to get those aluminum trusses made and powder coated and everything. So
I was gonna say, we were talking about that at the tryouts, about that you're getting aluminum
Mm-hmm.
nets this time, so a lot lighter, easier to hang up, and less pressure on the staff to maintain those.
I don't know if I think it's Dodge City has steel ones, either Dodge City or Salina. I can't remember which one it was. Salina, yeah. They have the old steel ones, and they were saying that it was putting a strain on their roof. So
and with that, so Salina is one of those interesting cases where they don't have trusses on one side of their arena.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we heard. I mean, that doesn't apply to us. We've got trusses exactly where we need them. We're good.
Right.
But have you heard how Salina, and I think was it Oregon? I think is similar to that. We've got kind of an arched roof with no trusses. Have we heard anything like that's going to be done?
I think
no idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what Salina is going to do. I know part of their concern was the weight of the new nets, and these nets, being aluminum, you're looking at 250 pounds. Yeah. So it's not like we need any crazy rigging to kind of get those held up there.
Winch will take care of it.
Yeah, so I think that's going to at least fix it there. I haven't looked at Oregon. I haven't seen
the building. The other half, like I said, I don't think they have any rigging on the top at all.
Yeah.
To hang from. So there's a couple of those venues. I'm kind of curious how that's going to play out. I know Hawaii, they did when they did the All-Star game in Hawaii, we actually had them mounted to the ground.
Really?
Yeah, that's very, very rare. If you need a picture, I do have a picture of it somewhere I can send to you. But it has been done, not in any that I know of in any official capacity, because that was not an unofficial All-Star game. But I know it has been done and can be done. So
I'm sure they'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Luckily, we don't have to do anything crazy on that end.
No, our venue is absolutely perfect. I mean,
oh yeah,
it was nice seeing everything kind of laid out, even if it wasn't done, to see everything kind of laid out for that police fire game. Go, okay, here's the back wall. It's going to be this far in front of the scoreboard. We should be good as long as the slack net isn't too slack. It shouldn't touch the scoreboard.
Yeah, and I was impressed with the scoreboard. I had no idea that they, when we went in there the day before, that the scoreboard was fantastic. Yeah,
it is gorgeous, and then the setup we have with the sponsors going down the side and rotating, that's beautiful. That's going to be a major benefit to us. I'm excited to see how that. I'm excited to see the finished product, how it all's going to look.
Yeah, I think Scott. I think Chris in the comments is nominating you for director of ops. So.
Yeah, I don't know that I've got that kind of talent. But yeah, I mean, let's see. Well, let's run through the comments actually, because I know we had a couple folks popping in here. Schedules come out for the league. Brian, most of the schedules out. There's been some changes here and there. I think we're mostly waiting on the East to hear what their final schedules are.
Yeah, I know that. I know that Georgia being going under new ownership, I know that's kind of putting a little damper on things there. But our schedule's up. Our tickets are on sale, and they're ready to
go. Speaking of game times, we're looking for home game times.
Right now, we're looking at 7:00. I know we have four Saturday games. We got a Sunday game that we're looking probably 3:00, 4:00 time frame. So, for all those people need to get ready for work the next day. Don't want to have them out too late on a Sunday.
I got 2.5 hour drive home, so
that's true.
I appreciate it being early.
Yeah.
I can take time off. Wife's a teacher. That's not so easy for her.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got in here. We got Brian down in Louisiana. How's it going? Brian's essentially my counterpart down for the Voodoo. He runs their fan club down there.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Perfect. Nice to meet you.
Charles does something similar with the Philly team as well. So he was asking about the Deuce, the material of the ball. Didn't they say this is a composite? Is that...
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, it's a brand new build that I know they're putting together. But yeah, it's like a composite setup, probably similar to a little bit similar to what we had in the CIF last year. But I think it's going to be obviously like the CIF balls. I think we're only filled up to like 7 psi. So these are going to be a lot more durable, a lot more firmer on that end. But it is going to be a composite ball.
And
So.
I've got a CIF ball. You all can see this. I have a CIF ball mounted right next to an AFL ball up next to me, and there's a size difference. The AFL balls are usually NFL size and weight. The CIF is a little bit smaller, a little more rubbery, a little tackier. So yeah, and the same thing with the IFL, same way. They have a slightly smaller ball. People don't realize that changes things.
Oh yeah,
definitely. Have that bigger, heavier ball. It changes the offense, and somehow still there's more offense in the AFL. So it's kind of impressive. Kind of a testament to the kind of athletes the AFL gets versus some of these other leagues. Not that they're not great athletes. They're all great athletes in their own levels. But AFL's brought in a special level for sure.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Getting some credit there from Sean and Javante there. I'm sure you guys seen that.
Cannonball.
Yep. We got Krish. You guys, I'm sure you guys know Krish from doing.
Yeah. I did an interview with him not too long ago.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Let's see, Capper's back. Arena fan Capper. Is the current AFL pay scale daunting, especially for your ownership who comes from the lower paying indoor football world?
So that's a great question. Originally it was. It was one of those things that, when it was first brought forward, it was definitely going to be something that was going to be concerning on my end. But the way that the AFL has worked with the owners, so basically with what they're doing with their media rights, with the sports betting, and all these other features that are going to be revenue generators, a lot of that is using to offset some of our overhead cost. So, I mean, when you think about it, I mean, look at like the Chiefs game. Peacock bought it for what, $110 million? Is that what it was? So $110 million went straight into all the NFL owners' pockets, and they all split that up evenly. That was their share, whatever happened there. So it's similar. Exactly. So it's a similar thing, just on a very, very significantly different level. But with our media partner arrangements, there's going to be some money that's going to be coming back from that, and it's going to be trickling down to the owners to help with a lot of that. So on our end, yes, it's still a big check that we have to write each week when we're paying these players. And I know the number was thrown around a lot early on about the $750,000 salary cap. That's on a year. So yes, if I went out and signed Chris Jones and he wants to play around in the off season, yeah, I'm going to probably have to pay him $50,000, $85,000 a week to come out,
Right.
Obviously in situations like that. But, we're dealing with slightly different squads where I think Lee, the commissioner, said that from what he's seen, there's not a single league or a single team right now that's even remotely close to the salary cap. So I think that with the AFL coming back, I mean, obviously, there's talks about, like the player union and some of the other changes that happened in the past, and that might make some changes happen, but I'm not too worried about it, at least for right now.
As a Raiders fan, Jimmy Garoppolo should be available here pretty
soon. You're a Raiders fan living in Kansas City, huh?
I'm a Raiders fan living in Kansas. I moved out here about 20 years ago.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. I'd much rather be a Raiders fan in Kansas City than the other way around.
Yeah.
But Max Novak popped up. Max, I got to tell you, man, every time we even talk about indoor football, you're the first person Stanley brings up every single time.
Agent Zero, dude. My daughter is like super pumped to hopefully. I mean, for those of you that don't know Max, he's probably one of the most athletic young kids I've ever met, and honestly, he's like the nicest dude ever. Like, if he's one of those guys that like he could date any of my nieces, my daughters, any of them. I mean, obviously he's too old right now, but still, like he's just one of those guys. He's like the nicest dude ever. He's athletic as hell. He did get some surgery in the off season, so I know he's waiting to hear from his doctor on this clearance. And with the two-way thing, he's a little worried. And by all right, I don't want him to come and injure himself. But I do hope that we can work something out. He's definitely gonna come out and at least watch some games if he can't play. So
at very least he's a fan favorite, guaranteed fan favorite.
Yeah.
So we had a couple people asking about the announcements. The announcement hasn't been made yet. Terry, all the coaches are staying, obviously with the exception of the head coach, and we did lose Purify as our offensive coordinator. So, but we've had a couple people asking about the coaches and about any announcements. So if you guys want to go ahead and make your announcements.
Yeah. You want me to go ahead, Mike?
Go ahead, Trevor.
All right. Well, so we started off. I interviewed we interviewed this guy early on in the season. When we met Brandon. Brandon, like I said, he came with a whole staff. So it was on paper, it was a lot more professional setup, and it looked like a lot of the work was already being done. So when this position came back open again, we reached back out. And I know we're going to get some flack, and we have one thing that we're going to have to overcome with this gentleman as being our head coach. He didn't have a great season last year with me. He didn't have a great season with the Tropics year one, but we did bring Tyus Jackson in as our head coach. Two big reasons is one, I know he's got a fire burning to go out there and prove to everyone. I mean, he's a great coach. Everyone last year, all the other coaches we talked to said that he is awesome. He's got the experience. He's got what's needed. I think that our issue last year, and some of the players in here can probably easily vouch for it. Our linemen just, we didn't have a line that could stop anything. We didn't have a line that could defend our quarterbacks, and that's why we ended up with 3 injured quarterbacks at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's not like we were getting killed in the games last year either.
Oh, no. So, I mean, Salina won the year before, and we lost to them by 1 point in double overtime. So, I mean,
we hung with the beef. We shot ourselves in the foot with the beef.
Correct.
It wasn't like the beef beat us. We beat ourselves with the beef.
Yeah. So I mean, he's a great coach. He's a dominant force on defense when he was in the AFL, and he's got years and years of experience. So that was a big thing for us. Was we wanted to make sure that whoever's we're bringing in is going to be able to tell people, hey, this is what it's like when you're out on the field, and this is what you need to do.
Well, and this is his game.
It is.
The indoor game. That's not his specialty. That's not where he made his name. He made it in the AFL, and he was an absolute beast on defense.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I remember one of the nationally televised Voodoo games. They're getting killed. I mean, just getting tore up the field one way down the other. But the only bright light on that field was Tyus, just tearing up the other team. He couldn't do it by himself, but he was the only one making the plays the entire game. The guy knows this game. 100% knows this game.
Well, and it works out great for us because he's got a lot of connections. His now fiance lives up in Omaha, so for him it's a area that he's familiar with as well, which is important. So he can get out there in the community just like all of our players will, and we're excited to see what he can do.
Well, and I did, I've been talking to him on the side last week or so. We are going to continue this show. Plan is to continue the show, and we're going to be shooting for Tuesdays at 8. It's kind of our goal at this point. So,
awesome.
So I kind of had a feeling that was going to be one of your announcements today. Another wonderful dude. I mean, you're talking. For me, you got Tyus versus Brandon. They're both like brothers. I love both those guys. I personally couldn't complain either way. So, I hate to see Brandon go, but I am excited to see Tyus come in again. Good dude. the fans will enjoy him. He's just
Yeah.
a solid guy. Again, very, very similar to Brandon, honestly, when it comes to personalities and just getting to know the person.
Yeah.
So
Well, and as you can see, we've got a couple comments in the chat. I mean, the players, the players all have a lot of respect for him as well. So that's kind of a big thing there. But as much as I'm excited about Tyus, Mike, I think you need to let everyone know about our new offensive coordinator.
Yeah, so this guy reached out to us. Actually, when we made the announcement that we were letting Brandon go, he reached out to us about the head coaching position. So both Trevor and I talked to him on the phone for quite some time. Loved his background, but we ended up talking with Tyus. We decided to go ahead and see if he was interested in the offensive coordinator. So we're excited to bring in Donovan Morgan as our offensive coordinator. So I'm sure you've probably heard that name, Scott.
I
Just
know him well.
big background in the AFL. Played in the NFL. So I think he brings a definitely a pedigree that will help out us and the rest of the coaching staff. So excited to have him on board.
Dude, I was looking at that guy's Wikipedia page, and his stats
No
are
joke.
insane. Yeah,
I mean,
he's.
if you got to lose Purify, this is the guy you want to bring in.
Oh yeah,
like,
oh yeah,
100%. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
He says he has his playbook ready to go, so he's excited, just like we are.
Yeah. As soon as we mentioned him to Tyus, he was like, "Dude, that's my man. Bring him in, Captain Morgan."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Man, I got to get Captain Morgan to sponsor this guy. We do.
I was just going to say that exact thing right there.
So, but yeah, no, we're excited because when you look at our coaching staff, I mean, it's very heavily defense oriented, and in this game, like, defense will win you games. I mean, obviously people go for the points, but if you can stop them, then it's and I'm not trying to downplay offense, but in arena ball across the board, it seems like it's easier to score. It's definitely hard to stop. And so we've got, Larache, we've got James Romaine, and now Tyus. I mean, we're going to have
and Tanner.
Oh yeah,
and Tanner.
Dude, Tanner. Yeah, Tanner's another one. I mean,
Absolute
those guys. We got on a call the other night. We were talking about players, and man, those guys were just going back and forth, talking smack.
A lot of trash talking, yeah.
Oh yeah. So, because I mean, they all played together. They played against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Demo's out there throwing out games when he scored 3 touchdowns against Romaine, and just that it builds that bond with these guys. So they've got a lot of respect for each other as coaches.
Oh, for sure. And I made the comment earlier in the year that we're going to have a better roster on the bench than we are on the field.
Yeah.
that bench roster just got even better.
Yep.
I mean, we got pretty much an all-star team in our coaching staff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. Man, that's gonna shake some things up. There's gonna be a lot of talk about that in the next week on all the forums for sure.
Well, we're excited to get him out there. He's been itching to make an announcement. And for anybody that wants to, we do have our next tryout scheduled. We're doing them up in the Kansas City area, and we're getting all these coaches in. So if anybody's in the Kansas City area and wants to meet these guys,
I appreciate that, by the way.
Yeah, bring them all in. Yeah, it's gonna be a great little setup.
Yeah.
So.
We're still planning on having one other tryout in March in Council Bluffs. So
yeah,
perfect. I definitely appreciate y'all coming down here. That makes it a lot less of a drive for me, and for you guys for that matter. So
true, just about an hour away.
Yeah. Right. So I mean, that's huge. I mean, that you're talking about an absolute just beast of a player. I mean, both Tyus and Donovan. Man, those are man. So that's gonna shake some things up. I mean,
that's what we're hoping.
Excited to see how that plays out. You said most of the players are staying around. Cato still looking like he's staying around.
Yep. Cato's still on board. Like I said, we had 2 players that basically reached out shortly after we made our announcement about Coach Henderson. And we don't hold any grudges. I mean, I talked to Tyus and Demo about it, and they just said, listen, if they don't want to play for us, that's fine. Like, we don't want people here that don't want to be here. So we want to make sure that the guys that we have are here to compete and here to get better and to show kind of what we do. And so we released them. But like I said, I'm not going to hold anything against somebody that's moving up. So if you're going to the CFL, XFL, or I guess UFL or wherever they're moving on to, we wish them the luck and
Yeah.
hopefully they move on.
And like I said earlier, this game is about relationships. It's about
Correct.
who you know and trusting who you're working with.
Yep.
So I get it. You signed up with Brandon. That's your boy. I get it. It's no different than a college recruiter coming in and recruiting a college student, only
Sure.
for them
Yeah.
to leave.
Look at all the guys that went to Colorado.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. The game is about relationships when you boil it down. So yeah, and there's no reason to hold anything against anybody. It's just on any end. And I talked to Coach Henderson after everything got announced, and I'm like, yeah, this sucks. I mean, and it does. It sucks for him, but at the same time, it is the business. That's just how this works sometimes. And Capper and Chad, he'll tell you, when you're deep enough in all these leagues, you end up hearing all the dirty laundry, and and it gets pretty dirty at times. So and it's just, again, the nature of the beast. But I think we got two very quality replacements coming in here.
Most definitely. Yep.
Yeah, definitely nothing was lost. Like you mentioned, Tyus was dealing with just not much of an offensive line last season, and a lot of other factors off the field.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we also had, here's the one thing that that everyone sees or everyone knows that's in this game, but people who are just fans, they don't get to see any of it. And if there is an issue at ownership level, it all trickles down. So you get your general manager, he sees what's going on, they start talking to the coaches, and then the way the coaches handle business, can sometimes, trickle down obviously to the players. And so the one thing I noticed last year when we were there, like if the players weren't getting taken care of, they weren't going to play. They weren't going to give it all for you. And so that's why Mike and I, Mike's going up there. He's actually up there in Iowa right now. I'm going up there tomorrow morning. We're meeting with our sponsors. We're getting things situated. We're going up there pretty much about every week to kind of make sure that these players have absolutely everything they could ever want for coming to Iowa. So we've got other teams in our backyard. We got the Beef right across the way that they've got their set of sponsors, and but we're formulating our own partnerships over on the Iowa side. And I think that we're the players are going to want to come play for us because all these players talk.
Right.
So once the players come in and they see where they're living, they see the food that they're getting, they see the gear that we've got for them, I think you're going to have other players that are going to probably be fighting to play for us year two. And so that's what I want to build on that and just grow.
No, and that's some advice I'll give you guys. Is here in Kansas City when we had the command second go around, the team put together a video of the players' apartments and where they were going to be staying, and it's just a little promotional video.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a hold of that, put that out on social media at the time, and it's like, wow. There were people like, wow, that's a really nice place. That's a really nice setup, and it drives people. It's like, okay, so I'm gonna get paid the same there. I'm gonna get paid the same, Dodge City, let's say.
Yeah.
Do I want to go and stay at this, real nice apartment, next to a casino, or wherever we happen to be, or do I want to be out middle of nowhere, Kansas?
Of course, living next to a casino might be scary. So,
right? Hey, you can double your money or lose it all at once, right?
That's true. That's true.
But yeah,
and that's
emotional video. That would be honestly very helpful, I think.
Well, and like I said, and all like we talked about earlier about the marketing that we're doing. Having the social connections that we've got with Kelsey and her Sprout marketing business and everything that she's doing, it just gives us a platform that when we get these guys out here and they make some awesome plays. I mean, I'm super pumped with the connections that we've got. We've got Iowa Western media students that are going to come in. They're going to make hype videos and stuff like that for us.
Nice.
So these guys are currently making videos for like ESPNU and ESPN2 and all the games that they put on. They currently work on that market. So being able to have them come in and make hype videos and record our plays and elevate what we're already doing with our team, I'm excited about that level too.
And that's exactly what I'm talking. If you can get that, but instead of a hype video, just a recruiting video. This is our workout facility. This is our arena. This is where you'll be staying. This is the kind of places you're going to be eating.
Yeah.
To send that to prospective players, it's like, hey guys, this is what we have to offer you on top of, 5 times the pay of the CIF.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
That's those kind of things make a difference. We were talking last night on the roundtable. The nice thing about having that ridiculously high salary cap is there's no reason to pay anybody under the table. There's no reason.
True. Very true. Yeah.
Because that goes on in every league. This player, we know this. Their league maximum is $300, but we know this guy's making $1,500 a game.
Correct. And that's the thing is it basically makes it a very even playing field, because at that point in time it's
yes and no.
within reason. Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously somebody with a lot of money can come in and make it rough, but at the same point in time, you when you look at especially this first year, I think it's going to be a very even playing field for most of the league. There's probably just like you said earlier, the Orlando and the Albany. Obviously they've got some bigger markets. They've got probably a little bit better. Would I rather live in Iowa or Orlando for a couple months? It's kind of
got money coming in from last season.
Yeah, exactly. That's also a big thing too. So for us, we're building from scratch. We're building our sponsorship levels from scratch, and when we did that fire versus police game, the arena themselves were actually amazed with how many people showed up, and we only promoted that for about 3 weeks. Yeah. So I told the arena they better be ready when we get our season going, because like Agent Zero said earlier, we're ready to pack the mat and get that going.
So with that police fire game, it's kind of set up close to what it's going to be like on game day. We've got, I think, 2 sections that are going to go down to the wall.
Correct.
And the rest are going to be field level suites.
Correct. Yeah.
How are ticket sales going? How are the suites selling? I know you probably don't have hard numbers, and wouldn't ask you for those anyway, but just in general.
Yeah. So I know ticket sales are going really well for our first game. We've got a lot of. I don't know the exact number of what we have for season tickets, but I know on our web tracker, there's a lot of, every time we make a post, we get a lot of attention and a lot of people going over there and hit that link. So I know that our announcements that we've got today, we've got some press releases that are going out in the Iowa area as well. And then this Thursday, we've got a big chamber event that not only are we going to be one of the premium booths at there, but it's also inside the Mid-America Center, which is great marketing for us as well, because it's right there on our home field. So those are the connections that we're making. So the suites that we've got going around, I think there's going to be about 16 to 18 of those suites. And a lot of those are really our corporate sponsors. They are for sale. If someone's interested, reach out to us. We do have those for sale. But the other thing that we're doing, which you didn't get to see when you went to that game, was the end zone underneath the big scoreboard. Mm-hmm. That's going to be kind of like just a big party zone. So those are going to be a more premium ticket. They do come with a VIP entrance, so you just come right in off the ground, and you can go right down there to field level. Seating will be limited, but I think we're going to have like 250 tickets available for that. So, if you and a bunch of guys want to go down and get right on the wall, and you guys don't want to spend all the money for a private suite, you can go down there and enjoy the game just like everyone else can, right there on the field.
The game's meant to be experienced on the field, not on the suites at the top level.
Correct.
It's just not made for being up there.
Yeah.
It changes completely, even from 5th row to 1st row. It's a drastic difference in the game day experience when you're up that close. Last year at the Tropics, I had to basically horse collar a guy coming over the wall because he was running right into my son. So I had a horse collar just keep him going all the way over the wall. So there is that, but there is just the actual interaction with the players as they're going by. And I've been known to jaw with a couple of refs and players in my day. In fact, actually, I even had a ref thank me during one game here in Kansas City. He just about almost blew a rule. He came and said, "Hey man, we're supposed to get time back on the clock." And right before they snapped the ball, he blew it dead, went over the side, got the time put back on, turns around and says, "Thank you." I kid you not, the next play, we didn't get in the end zone. The clock would have run out.
There you go.
We get in the end zone on the following play, right before half. We win that game by 1 score.
So you're not saying you did it all, but I mean, you did it all.
I influenced it.
There you go.
But yeah, I actually had the ref thank me on that one
That's awesome.
Helping to get that call correct. But it does. It changes your experience. It changes your interaction with players. And I said many times before that you go to these games and you got to make sure you talk with the players afterwards, and even if you can before on the walls and whatnot, because what happens is it's not just your team. It's not just your player scoring. It's a friend of yours now that's scoring. Like I said, Brandon, Tyus, Tanner. I've known these guys for years. I love them all to death, and I follow them everywhere. I made a trip to Louisville to go see an IFL game because Clint Dozell and Dan Rodabaugh were going to be there coaching that weekend. Let's go down to Louisville and see. It's about the relationships, and it does change your experience so much more when you do get to know these guys on a personal level.
Yeah.
And that's why it's also important to get, honestly, guys like Max out there, guys that are great with the fans, that have that personality that, my 4-year-old is dying to come and see him again. Every time we go to get, is Max here? Is Max here? And then my 4-year-old. So, I mean, if it has that kind of impact on a kid like that, what's he going to do to, a 7, 8, 10, 12-year-old that's really getting what's going on?
Correct. Yeah.
That makes a big, hey, we got LaRoche joining us too. How's it going,
Hey, LaRoche.
What's up, Coach?
Glad to have you with us. We got a pretty good turnout, actually. Got quite a few coaches coming in, quite a few fans from across the country.
It's awesome.
People are excited to hear what y'all had to say.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Yeah.
I see Palmer's in here. Joey, he's he signed up with us. We got him under contract. There's quite a few of them. Yeah.
So one of the questions, this has kind of been running around the back of my head. Why Council Bluffs? How'd you end up here? Why this market?
Well, so you'll know because you've got some pretty close ties to the tropics and everything that happened over there. Dominic Montero, he helped JR when they owned the tropics 3 years ago. And I met him last year. I think last year after we took over the team, he ended up going to work in Omaha for a while. And I think he moved up to the Iowa area. I think he lives in Cedar Rapids or somewhere up there. So shortly after everything that was going bad with the tropics, I started looking in other areas. I came up to meet with you and we hung out and we were talking about, different options in Kansas City or what was in the area that would work. And we couldn't get anything tied up with an arena. Everything was either locked down or wasn't going to have the schedule that we needed. So it was going to be a struggle to get something going in Kansas City for 2024. That's when Dominic, he heard that I was looking, and he just reached out, and he was starting, I think it's the AIFA or the AIF. Yeah. So he was trying to create multiple teams at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a struggle for anybody that, like, even if it's with all of Mike's management experience, that would be a struggle even for him, just to get 2 teams off the board, 2 brand new teams.
Right.
So I think that Coach Henderson was kind of taking on a lot of those roles, helping build the Council Bluffs area. But Dominic reached out to me and said, "Hey man, I'm spread thin. Like, let's see if we can work something out." And Council Bluffs, the town is honestly, it's very, very welcoming. My big concern was being an outsider, coming in and just having the whole town say, "Oh, well, you're just this silly Kansan trying to come up here and make a quick buck," or something like that. And when we met with a lot of the sponsors that were already up there, surprisingly, they didn't care where we were from. They just wanted to make sure that we had the right mindset, that we were trying to do right by their city. Um, the Blackhawks left. They folded. The Lancers moved over to Omaha and moved out of Council Bluffs, and they really want something to stay there. So Mike and I, when we met with a couple of the sponsors, and actually one of them, a great sponsor, Kelly and her husband, there with Dave Lyon Towing, they're the reason we did the Fire versus Police event. They're
Yeah, I
both
think that.
volunteer
Yeah, I think
firefighters.
when we talked to him, I think it was we're thinking we're going to meet with him for 30 minutes. I think we were in their house for over 2 hours just chatting with him. So yeah, built a great relationship with him. Yeah.
And so when all of that happened and we saw kind of what we could build there, and then we saw the arena, I think the arena was really what sold it for me.
That's a great facility.
Yeah. And it's surprisingly, it's super underutilized. Like everyone in town says, and I think part of it is because that Caesars manages it. Their focus, like an arena like that, your focus should be concerts and all that stuff.
Right.
But Harrah's right around the corner. They have the Cove. They do their concerts over there.
Stir Cove,
Stir Cove. So I think they push their concerts to their facility, and really this facility it's just not utilized to its fullest capabilities. So we're gonna show them what they can do with it.
Well, I was trying to find like an event schedule, and I couldn't find much of anything going on here.
No.
It sounds like we're gonna be able to have our turf laid down almost around the clock.
Oh yeah, so especially for the month of June, or June. Yeah. So I know, like in May, since the facility's owned by the county, you've got graduations and that type of stuff that you do there. But for June, we have 2 home games in June, and I think we're going to be able to lay down the field at the end of May and practice in there and get all of that stuff going. So we're excited about it.
Yeah, that is so beneficial. I mean, that's huge to have in the building with the right lighting and in the right atmosphere. You can't replicate that in a soccer, on a random indoor soccer field. You can't, or some random training facility. It's just not the same.
Yep.
We got Justin Peck asking, will the Rampage have a separate turf from the soccer turf?
Yeah.
We were talking about that
yeah. Hey Justin, how are you? Yeah, we're definitely. I don't know if you saw that, but yeah, we're getting a new turf. So the one that we had in for the charity event was the wrong one that was sent to us. But yeah, we'll definitely.
Yeah. So I got in my defense, and that was all 100% my fault there. So I ordered that turf from another facility, and the pictures and all the information he gave me was 100% to our specs. And then when the turf arrived and they started laying it out, they were like, it's painted like a soccer field, and it's got logos on it, and it doesn't even meet the ends of the walls.
Paper thin.
It's got holes all over it.
Holes all over it. I freaked out, and I called the guy back, and the guy was like, "Give me 5 minutes, let me call you back." And then he called me back and said, "So the turf that you bought was delivered to some guy in like Kentucky or something like that, and the one that he bought you have." And I'm like, when did he buy that? And I guess he bought it, about a month or two, or had it delivered a month or two beforehand. And by that point in time, he's already trimmed it down to fit his arena and everything. So it was a huge nightmare. But luckily, the guy made it right. We got all of our money back. He paid for shipping back and forth. So we're taking all of that, rolling it into brand new artificial grass that we've got a great hookup from a gentleman out in California. So
we're talking brand new turf too. We're not talking about
This is brand new artificial grass, and I think we've got I think it's almost 3 so the padding underneath it. The way it's sold is the padding is not connected to the turf.
Okay.
So a lot of people, the turf now, they either have those squares, those that they stack up, or the rolls. The problem with the rolls is the backing that they glue the turf to the pad. That is very hard, And unfortunately, like that's what gives you the ripples, and that's where it bends. So the turf is separate from the padding, which gives us the ability that if it's not enough padding, we can always add more. We can always make it right, and get all that going. I'm not 100% sure if it's the same stuff that Orlando has. I saw that question earlier. I'm not familiar with what Orlando has. I just know that our stuff, it is going to be an artificial grass turf that we'll have down there.
I think Arizona got the squares on their most recent turf. I think that's what they got.
Yeah.
And I know West Texas, I think, purchased the squares as well.
Right.
Or
Yep.
they're getting them. So.
Okay. You said it's somewhere in California now, just kind of hanging out, ready to head this way.
Yep. The guy. I mean, yeah, the guy's got. So he gave us. We have all 15 rolls. It's not even cut to specs. So that's kind of part of the problem is we've got to make sure that the arena has enough time to put up the dasher walls, so that way we can make sure that the turf rolls edge to edge. We can trim it down to fit, and then we'll have to take it somewhere and find another spot because the arena's pretty busy in March and April for us to get it painted and striped.
So I got to ask, since we have brand new turf that hasn't been cut, is there any chance we can get squared end zones?
Probably, well, with the way the dasher walls set they have, I don't think they have the ability to do the square end zones.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how the old arenas used to do that. Because I mean, generally it's the hockey walls that they go with.
Yeah. It was. Yep. That's what these are.
I'm not sure how the old arenas, how the old AFL used to do that, where they actually squared them up, because that's not a normal configuration.
No, it's not. No.
So the other thing will be green. Is it going to be a standard green turf, or are we doing something special?
So we are going with the green. We're kind of bouncing around some ideas for the end zones.
Okay.
Being some different colors. So we'll maybe that'll be a surprise, kind of an announcement or a cool video introduction to the MAC when we get everything going.
There we go.
So
I'm excited. Like I said, just doing that police fire game, even though it wasn't an actual AFL game, even though it wasn't completely set up, it just had that feel. There was something different. My wife and I were talking about that on the way home. There's something different about the feel of the production, knowing this is AFL versus CIF. And I've been a CIF season ticket holder, the CPIFL before that, the IFL, AFL, not an AF2 season ticket holder, but went to like 20 games one season.
Wow.
So,
you traveled in, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean that year the AFL took off in 2009. I went to as many cities as I could reach. And
wow,
that's awesome.
And capped it off at the championship game in Vegas that year.
Nice.
Yeah, it was an absolute blast. But so there's just something about the actual AFL brand that just feels different. It feels more together, more professional, even though it was kind of chaos that day. Yeah,
I mean, we were definitely dusting up some cobwebs, and and that's why we like doing it that way, because the people that were there, they were just excited to be able to play. They were excited to see their families and friends out there on the field, so they didn't see all the stuff on the back end that we did. But it's
stuff. There's a 3-minute delay. Big deal.
Yeah, exactly. But for us, it's a learning curve. We had a new DJ, we had a new scoreboard operator, we had knew everything. So we'll get all the kinks worked out, and we'll definitely make sure that come May, our first home game, May 11th, it's going to be a great production.
Oh yeah, I honestly, like I said, there were a lot of bumps, but it wasn't good. There's no way it's going to be perfect and ironed out.
Right.
But doing that, you could tell was just this is where we're going to learn from. We did this very, very dry run. Now we know a little bit more what to expect.
Yeah, so surprisingly, like you said, we only get 3 weeks of promoting it.
Mm-hmm.
It went over fairly well. I mean, we had, like I said, a few hiccups, but I already know the fire and police they're wanting to play again. I think they want to play again this summer, but we're definitely looking at making this a year long or every year activity. And they gave it all. I mean, we didn't have padding on the walls. We warned them, and I could have swore I think we were going to have a couple key injuries there.
I was more worried about going out the back of the end zone than slipping.
We had one guy go to the back of the end zone that slipped on the cement. Yeah, that was.
They were legit wearing cleats.
They were.
And we told them, man, don't wear cleats. You're going to slip. But whatever. You know what's crazy is we were talking to all the guys beforehand, and all the firefighters, they were out running drills like leading up to this. They were like legitimately practicing, and I think they had 2 hamstrings pulled beforehand, and the police were just kind of just chilling. They were just like, well, we don't know who's going to play. We'll see what happens. And so I was talking with the police chief, and we were hanging out with the mayor earlier, and I was like, listen, man, if you have a bunch of injured guys, like they all signed waivers, I'll pay my taxes, but I'm not paying extra taxes to cover all of this workman's comp.
Well,
And
and
so, yeah,
fire didn't
it
even
was
count
fun.
enough players, didn't they? Didn't we had a couple of our players had to step in and
Yeah, I mean,
for the police,
yeah,
for
for
the
police.
police? Yeah.
yeah. Fire.
Well,
I
the
think
fire,
fire had about 40 some people.
yeah, yeah, they brought out
Police
2
had
whole
like 15,
rosters.
16. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so a couple things that kind of touched on this. You want to run back? So the scoreboard, like so, we had the rotating sponsors.
Hmm.
I was blown away how many sponsors we already had.
Yep.
Like, I mean that was impressive for as early as that was, and knowing there's still so much time before the season starts. And you said we had a good response that night, correct?
Right. Oh yeah.
How are things looking now? How's the sponsorship? I mean, I always say the money is made in sponsorships. Your tickets are your gravy.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So how are we looking local sponsor wise?
I mean, fairly well. I mean, I just met with a sponsor earlier that we got. That's just down the street from the MAC. They're very excited about doing some food trade. So I think we're meeting with a couple more tomorrow. So I mean, it's every time we're here, we're meeting with sponsors. So had a lot of great outpouring in the community. Our names getting out there, so I think that's helping. With businesses coming in. But like Trevor said earlier, we've got Kelsey, our marketing gal, that's got a lot of connections. She's brought somebody else onto her team that's got connections in the city. So we got a lot of people in the community that's working to make this happen. So it's just not Trevor and I. We got a good team behind us. That's been very successful so far.
I was gonna say, I hope it's showing up as well locally as it is on the nationwide scene on the social media nationwide. Because like I say, you guys are building a great reputation, for getting your name out there and doing things right. So if it represents that way, in the locally, it's going to work. Just period. It's going to work. Um, uh, Coach Jackson's talking about are we going to have? I just realized we got 2 Coach Jacksons now.
We do.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
they're both Ironman too. So
yeah. So we always call Coach Tyus anyway. So that's what my little guy
that'll work.
Works with that. But yeah, Coach Jackson's asking, well, we have we're going to have merch for the fans, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. So we definitely have a merch stand, and then with the most recent AFL connection with Nike and BSN, that's going to be a great connection as well. So they're actually going to be providing us with a lot of merch that's going to be branded for us that we'll be able to have, as well as we're going to do some unique stuff. So like on theme nights, we'll have really cool theme merch that we'll have available. But yeah, all of that stuff's going to be there, and it's going to be just right at the top of the escalator, right when you walk into the MAC.
Yeah, there you go. And you say you're doing theme stuff. So how about just kind of fun stuff? Not necessarily theme, but like I think I've told you guys before. I got a T-shirt. At the front of it says Tulsa Talents. The back of it says I like it against the wall. I've got another one that says beer tailgating and football.
Okay.
I like that one.
Barnstormers logo on it.
Yeah.
Another one just says beer meat and had the Barnstormers logo on it.
Yeah.
That's things I think that stand out when you do those kind of fun, different things.
Oh yeah, no, and so that's the cool thing that like we're excited about. If obviously we're inside the MAC, we've talked about that, about how it's awesome, but the area around it, there's a street that goes right in front of the Mid America Center, and one of our big sponsors is Full Fledged Brewery, which is right across the entrance of the arena. And so they're a local brewery. They're actually going to create their own beer for us.
Nice.
And we're excited about that because I just can't wait to see those cans available, in the arena. And also, there you go. Definitely. We'll definitely send you a 12-pack. So, but we're going to be setting up that whole area is going to be our tailgating space. So we're going to have, food trucks. We've got, a bunch of family events. We're looking at doing like pregame concerts and all of that stuff. So we really want it to be one of those things that, when you come out, you're going to be, yeah, you have the game from, 7 to 9, 7 to 10, but couple hours before that, you're out there and you're just hanging out with your buddies or your family, and your kids are playing, and you're just sitting out there and just relaxing. And so we're going to build a really fun environment around the arena even before the game even gets ready to kick off. So
Yeah.
we want to make sure that the fans are ready to come out and just celebrate everything we've got.
Well, and then
plan on being out there 3:30 probably most days.
Yeah,
Getting set
definitely.
up.
Yeah, well, and on top of that, I mean, as the AFL partner with the Olympics, so they're looking to bring flag football Olympics in 2028, and I think a part of that, and we're still waiting on all the details, but having a flag football league in every city. So those home games, we're going to have flag football games that hopefully going on right there in the Mid America Center. So that'll be it'll be an all day activity.
Yeah. I've already scouted out my spot. I'm looking at that kind of walkway area with the grass on the sides, right outside the front entrance there, the south entrance.
Mm-hmm.
Take over a little bit of that sidewalk, like a little room for kids to run around and not get run over.
Perfect.
So,
Perfect.
I've already scouted out. Yeah, like I said, we'll be out there. I said 3:30, probably most days. Leave here about 1 o'clock. Get set up, fully up and cooking by 4 o'clock. That should probably be
Yeah,
it.
I think we have a couple activities planned already. I know we're looking at like a wing competition. Hopefully, we get several restaurants around the area being involved with that cornhole tournament. So we're planning some activities right there in the tailgating area.
I actually just picked up a new tailgating game. I've never seen this thing before, and I was just roaming through a thrift store. This thing's a big, tall post, probably about 5 feet high, and it's got these baskets. They're just kind of randomly placed around the post, and each basket's worth a different point. You toss the bean bags up into little baskets.
Huh.
It all collapses.
I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. I saw it as like $6. I'm like, done. Like something new, easy to transport, done. So you guys will come out and give that a shot.
Yeah, bring it out to the tailgating. There you go.
Oh yeah, no, I'll definitely have it out there with everything else. I got packing my truck down to a science. So, but I don't want to keep you all too long. I know we've been on for a little over an hour. I don't know what your all's time's like, but generally, what's the future looking like for us? That's kind of.
We're pretty excited. We actually after we did that flag football game, the arena was super excited. They were already talking about setting aside 7 to 10 dates for next year to make sure that we've got plenty of dates available for our season, because keep in mind, when we took over this team, we took over the dates that were set aside. So we had to work within what Dominic was building for the team, what he was building with the arena. And the arena is super pumped to make some changes and kind of adapt to what we're looking at doing. I know that they're already talking about making some changes to like upgrades to the arena when it's like sound system and things like that. So I think having us there as being like a staple and having that be our home base, I think is going to be really great for the community. We want to build this team and this business as, everyone says it needs to be a year-round business just on the sponsorship side, but we want to build a year-round on the actual community involvement. So we're working right now of scheduling like, a Rampage golf tournament that we'll do to sponsor some nonprofit later in the summer. We've got a big 4th of July celebration that we're going to do with the city of Underwood, and we're going to be out there to help them with that. And Underwood's just right outside Council Bluffs. We've got our charity flag football event that we're going to do, every winter with the police versus fire. So we really want to kind of make it where our guys, hopefully they get up there, they become part of the community, and they decide that they want to, join the community permanently. And then we can kind of help them get involved in every aspect of what we're looking at doing.
I'd like to see that charity flag football game turn into almost a tournament. Let's get police and fire from both sides of the river.
Yeah.
That's been mentioned. Yeah.
I mean, that would be
awesome.
fun. Or even police and fire on one team, the two cities going at it.
That'd be cool.
Coach Action Jackson is what I think we're going with. Coach Tyus,
Coach Action.
Jackson.
All right.
Action Jackson. That's hard to say, man. Talk about theme nights: Christmas in June, Halloween in July. So I like the Halloween in July, but I already dress up in a hockey mask every game anyway, so
There you go.
got that covered.
Yeah, I mean we've got some pretty good ideas right now. Also, we've got some sponsors that are some big sponsors that, if they throw a little bit of money our way, they might get their own theme night. So it's always an option. So right now we don't have anything scheduled 100%, but we'll definitely have some stuff released here in the next few weeks.
So, and sorry, Kerbal, I did kind of prep you on this. The CIF, there was some sort of deal with Lucas Arts. Is that something that we can have the ability to leverage in this league?
That's a good question. I don't think the CIF themselves actually did it. I think LucasArts themselves just allows different teams to do something. They partner with a company that makes sports uniforms and jerseys, and so that's probably something we could reach out to.
You throw Star Wars on anything, and people show up.
True. Yeah, no, that is correct. But what we're looking at doing is we're trying to really, we're trying to build that entertainment value. I mean, I know that there's been talks about, like halftime concerts and, big names. Like I've actually been emailing back and forth with some different guys about maybe doing like an 80s themed hip hop night or a 90s themed hip hop night where we've got some big names that I'm hoping I'll be able to drop here in the next couple of weeks that we've got some confirmations. So I think definitely a few of these groups or guys will definitely fill out the Mid America Center when everyone hears who's coming to play.
Hip hop was never better than it was in the 80s and 90s. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Exactly.
I know there's gonna be a couple people aren't gonna like that, but 80s and 90s, that was a fun time for hip hop.
Yeah.
Coach James chimed in and said, "Good luck this season." Thanks for coming in, Coach James.
Coach. Yeah.
Guy's an absolute legend. I'll always love having his support. He definitely gets this game and just gets what it takes to make this work. So, no, I appreciate you coming in and supporting us, Coach. But yeah, I mean, we went from kind of a shock of wow, what happened. Coach B's gone. Then find out here that Purify is now out. It's like those are some hits, but that's good replacements. I mean, like I said, on a personal level, Coach Tyus, Coach B, I love them both. They're like brothers to me. I'm happy with either one of them. I love those guys.
Yeah.
Donovan Morgan, wow. I mean, that's knocking it out of the park. I mean, that's ultimately he's going to be Hall of Fame, AFL Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah.
Just flat out.
He probably already should be, honestly. But he's still young. He's we'll get him an Arena Bowl under his belt, and then he'll definitely be a no-brainer in there.
Yeah, he's played on some great teams. And some talk about Flash. I mean, he was with the Kiss. He worked for Gene Simmons.
Yep.
I mean that's
there's
some cool stuff in his background. It's going to be great having him with us for sure.
Well, and I'm excited for him to be able to explain to these guys that come in and play for us that he did amazing with the Talons, and that actually got him recruited by the Titans. So just playing in the AFL, it took him up to the NFL level, just having a breakout year. So that's kind of where for going back to Agent Zero, Max Novak, I told him he was way too good to play for us last year. Yeah. I don't know why he was putting up with us over there in Topeka, but he's one of those guys that I think that ultimately him getting the good film, getting that good platform, that something like what we're building, that will definitely shoot him up in other people's radars, and so hopefully he does get picked up by one of those bigger leagues.
Yeah, and if we're lucky enough to get Max and then he's healthy and can play for us, he's the guy you put in front of the media. He's the guy you put on the radio. He's the guy that you get those interviews because again he's going to draw people in. Mm-hmm. People just instantly love Max. It's just a good guy to have around. Any team would be lucky to have a person like him on their team.
Correct.
Kansas City, we used to have O.J. Simpson.
God,
you
man.
know OJ. Yeah,
Oh, dude,
playing for us last
OJ's
year.
awesome. He's my boy right there.
Yeah. So I mean, not only did he have the name that got attention,
Yeah.
but he had the personality.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff draws people in. Like I can't stress enough how much personality is worth in this game because it's just a few guys on the field and it is a small roster and you do get to talk to them afterwards. It's a huge deal to have that. I mean, Coach Action Jackson, man, I'm gonna struggle with that one. Another great guy. I got to meet him in Cleveland at the Arena Bowl. I gotta eventually tell him the story of why I met him that night. But how I met him that night, we just started chatting, and he took me out and showing me around Cleveland, and he took me a couple of bars he hangs out with. I just met him that night. Great dude. It just brought me in, took me around. That's one of my favorite AFL stories about how these guys are.
Yeah.
You get to know them, you say hi, start up a friendship, and it's a great experience. I mean, more than anything, the people I've met in this league, that's been the best part. I've the relationships I've built, the people I've got to know. Coach James never coached on a team that I supported. But if I ever saw him at an away game, he's always, "Hey Scott, how's it going? Great to see you." Instantly knew who I was. That's what I mean. Like Coach James gets it. He gets the fans. He knows how that interpersonal connection, how much that means.
Yeah.
And it's something that's so special about this league. The CIF, you had that same access, but it was still different. IFL, same thing. You had that same access, but it's still different. There's something that and I don't know what it is, but there's a slight disconnect. It's just not quite the same. This league is special, and the players, like these guys, are part of it. So and are the biggest part of it. So
yeah,
it's great to see the staff we got together. I mean, Tanner Varner, he was basically family. When he was playing in Iowa, we hung out with his parents at road games, and his ex and Tanner and his ex and my ex and myself, we all went to a Chiefs game together one day, and it's like I said, it's all about the relationships. Getting to know these guys, it just makes it matter. It makes it matter more, and it makes you follow them. That if the Rampage are gone one of these days, I'm still going to follow these players that we get.
Good. Yeah.
No matter where they're at, I'm like, hey, I'm coming out. You're playing. You're playing in the new St. Louis team. I'm coming out. I'm coming to see you. That's just how it is. That guys turn around and go, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Man, you didn't expect to see me at some point this season? Come on." So, but guys, like I said, I've already taken up a ton of your time. Thank you so much for coming on. The great announcements. I mean, I didn't want to undersell Coach Tyus, and I feel like I am because I know him and I know him so well. Great dude, phenomenal guy. His players love him. I think that's part of where he ran into trouble in Topeka last year was he was supporting his players. Mm-hmm. He's a very player-first coach. He's going to do well, especially if he's got an actual strong support system. And he's got some solid linemen, which I think we have picked up some pretty solid linemen this year. So
definitely got some big boys.
Yeah. So as long as the big boys can play both sides of the ball, that's my fear.
Exactly.
It's a little harder to do.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, great guys. We got a great. This coaching staff's phenomenal. I mean, yeah, it's not these guys. It's not the Kevin guys. It's not the Mike Boneses. But these guys know the game, and especially in our division.
Yeah,
that's going to be worth a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute ton. Because I was talking to Dan Rodabaugh, former quarterback this week. He's like, "How many of these guys are going to be taking snaps out of shotgun?" It's like, yeah, too many. Yeah. And I guarantee our guys won't be doing it. So
that was one of the things that we were talking about, even last year was, on our call last night with the coaches is, that certain quarterbacks, they don't want to just go right up into the pocket. They want to go back because that's what they're used to playing out ball, outside ball. And so finding the right quarterback that can do that is key.
Yeah, they're going to get killed if they try to do the shotgun because this game it's so much faster in the indoor game. You look down, you get that ball in your hands. By the time you look up, who knows where everybody's at on the field.
Correct.
You can't take your eyes off that field at any point. You got to have head up. Don't even look at the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of the indoor coaches and players are going to struggle with that transition. So that's where I think we've got a huge advantage, especially with Cato, who does take the ball from center.
Mm-hmm.
I like how things are looking. I think you guys have definitely got a good thing going here.
Yep.
We're excited to show you.
Yeah. So again, thank you all so much. If y'all can hang online, so I can shut this down. I'll chat with you a little bit after. But
sure.
Hey, I appreciate y'all so much for coming on.
Yep.
We're gonna go ahead and sign off again. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you everybody for joining. Appreciate you guys. We'll the plan is next Tuesday, 8:00 Central. We'll have Coach Tyus on with us, probably in-house because he only lives a couple blocks from me. So
Terrific. All right.
Yeah, so we should have him in-house next Tuesday, like I said, 8 p.m. If something changes, we'll let you all know. So again, appreciate y'all coming on. We'll have to do this again soon.
Appreciate the invite. Thanks, Scott.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Iowa, Rampage, Iowa, Rampage, Iowa, Rampage, Iowa, Rampage. I don't care what you heard about me, what you know about me, what you think about me. Pull up to the spot and I'm only one deep. When I go OT, got the thing on me. G43X got it all safety. Trying to get the piece, so I gotta keep a piece, getting high in a bit, but I stay low key. Anytime I show face, gotta pay me a fee. Ain't nothing free, I'ma need that deposit. Go straight to the bank and I make a deposit. Created a brand and I don't need a stylist. My name getting big, think I'm Christopher Wallace. I make it look easy, I ain't even trying.